Welcome to my evaluation of our media practical work. The two projects we embarked on were successful for a number of reasons, due to the fact that we had little experience in filming and editing. So we went into each with an open mind, flexible to alterations if they were necessary. For our preliminary task, we decided to film within the school facility for reasons such as accessibility, continuity, and filming time, lighting, and the appropriate setting for the genre of our film. By doing so, we could regularly tweak each aspect of the film with a simple 2-minute walk from the location. We had to reshoot our production several times, in fact, as we were striving for perfection, with it being a reflection of our capabilities. Therefore, even though the initial footage would have been adequate, we felt different angles and more intense lighting would improve the quality. With these suitable changes, I feel we put more than satisfactory effort into our preliminary task, spending considerable amount of time improving it to become even better than we had initially anticipated. I would never say it was the best it could have been, because I believe there is always room for improvement in tasks such as these. However, with the amount of time we were given, the final product was a proud accomplishment. In terms of my personal contribution to the preliminary task, I was in charge of lighting, setting props, and actor positioning. I also starred as a security guard of the prison facility, including up-close shots of the walkie-talkie, communicating with the head office to authorise the entrance of Detective Kennedy into the facility. I believe that we all played a significant part in the physical roles, whilst also each contributing to the editing. However, this was not my primary duty. We were all present for editing, as a communal decision had to be made for each change and adjustment, so that they were all comfortable, each of us, having each of our voices heard. I enjoyed shooting and editing the preliminary task, as it gave us inspiration and tips for our main task, therefore influencing the quality of our main task tremendously. The filming was a fun aspect of the requirements, actually, taking us out of our comfort zones and requiring individual responsibilities, as well as using teamwork to perform cohesively. Despite the fun it provided, it was by no means easy, as it became frustrating to attempt to perfect our piece. However, by striving for perfection, I learned that perfection can never be achieved, yet dedication would be proof that we value our work. With our main task came more complications, further scheduling, and a higher standard of editing. The camera work was initially a concern, as our preliminary task lacked lighting continuity, becoming darker and harder to see as it progressed due to the winter months. Therefore, natural lighting was a bit lackluster, therefore we tried to compensate with that with lighting that we improvised. We wanted to initially ensure that we had a camera that shot in HD to raise the profile of the piece from the very beginning. We succeeded in not only camera quality, but camera angles, as a variety of high, low, wide, close-up, and even panning shots, allowing the viewer to experience the production from a different viewpoint, such from the killer's view, lurking in the bushes, to the POV shot as the victim is pulled to the floor. The audio exceeded our expectations, with the camera picking up little audio we did have perfectly, unlike our preliminary, which was another aspect we attempted to improve during the latter stages of such. Learning from our mistakes is very satisfying, yet implementing these techniques is even more fulfilling, as it shows we have the skills to apply our knowledge, not just absorb the information we were given. The location of filming took place at a nearby church that was near to our school, being a stereotypical setting for our horror film, with the weather being gloomy and grey, the perfect pathetic fallacy that we desired. A greater gift of the lack of rain made it easy to film without trouble, despite low temperatures of the winter. Our timing, however, presented the problem of endless cars entering and leaving the car park, which wouldn't be a problem, yet the amount of cars in each shot differed, apparent that the film took place at different times, hence lacking continuity, yet we did counteract this by editing, which helped us to eradicate these features. It didn't tarnish our filming too much, however. We kept in mind the 180-degree rule throughout the filming, succeeding in staying behind the line, only providing realistic angles. An important aspect of encapsulating typical conventions of real media products is first understanding them, being able to understand the impact they have, incorporating them into our own work, and even manipulating them to create unique adaptations of such. This was achieved by analysing certain productions of the horror genre, focusing on effective features that influence us individually, speaking through our own production, tailored to our preferences, truly being a unique product. For example, after analysing an array of popular, underground and art house films, A few included fast, flashing images to create a sense of panic and delusion, which spoke to me personally as well as the whole entirety of the group, as it induced distress for the recipient of the film, yet also caused me to provide a physical reaction, as it's somewhat disturbing. We then took this effective trait of the films and implemented it into the end of our main task, taking images from the main segment of the introduction and coupling them together to almost act as a flashback through the eyes of the detective, concluding in the villain towering over the jaded, befuddled protagonist, stating his dominance as a mysterious, unpreventable superior, looming through the entirety of the film. We considered challenging typical conventions, yet we desired an impactful introduction. Therefore, to veer away from effective techniques seemed risky. Therefore, we researched already successful features and conventions and used them in our own fashion to create an effect that is somewhat scarce in many modern horror films, providing music that couples so well with the scenes that it's paired with. The media product itself actually presents the male gender as both inferior and superior, with no female characters present throughout. This was somewhat intentional, despite no female in our group. However, it played into our plan to neither glorify nor offend either gender, being neutral in terms of what sex is most dangerous, powerful, vulnerable, and so forth. A typical convention in many horror films is the last girl trope, which focuses solely on one female character being susceptible to the film's inevitable wrath of the dominant male anti-hero. However, whilst this has its validity, due to the success of these types of films, I believe the modern era has to adapt and acclimatise to modern viewpoints, which steer more towards feminism and the uprising female dominance. Therefore, both characters are male, to suggest that no matter what gender you are, you're equally as exposed to the dangers of the world, and as well as being just as powerless in this depictive situation. By doing so, I believe a more contemporary institution would be willing to distribute our product, due to the diversifying feature of gender equality. However, a much larger conglomerate may stick to traditional values, therefore more unlikely to distribute our film. A film festival would be ideal for a film introduction such as ours, as it attracts a wide variety of audiences and provide exclusive yet diversifying edge which cannot be found through the regular medium of media. Despite only occupying male roles, the media we've produced is for anyone and everyone, as it occupies traits that we can all appreciate, such as intense music, which is heightened at the ending of the transitional scenes, fear and fluctuating shots that capture the detective from several angles to offer an insight as to the clever movement of the presumed killer. Technologies are vital in the production of the tasks such as this, due to the commodity of a computer, simple yet integral in the editing of each scene. The quality of the camera is of course a priority, as the higher the quality of the lens, the clearer the visuals will be, providing an aesthetically pleasing product, as well as an interesting storyline to bring the two together. In terms of the construction of the product, however, the editing was a key facility, being essential for both the preliminary and main task projects. It allows the scenes to flow between each other, with a smooth transition to create a sense of passing time, from different angles and viewpoints, giving the viewer an assortment of viewpoints from potentially many different people and characters. The influence that the preliminary task had on our final product is outstanding, highlighting the mistakes we made and errors that required improvement. I'm pleased that our preliminary task wasn't as perfect as we'd envisioned, as it acted as a stepping stone almost, a progression stage. Emphasising these errors that we'd made prior to the main task in our preliminary, we found ourselves going into the second project with a different mindset, desiring different goals as a result.